Hello, you guys, and welcome to Rellatable. My name is Gabriella Tomassetti, and I'm so excited because I have the first guest on my show ever, and it's you, Alexander Coombs.
Hello, hello, hello.
I hope that in your house you're giving him a round of applause because this man is a genius. And I want to introduce you, but I also want you to introduce yourself. Okay?
Okay.
I'll tell you why. So, Alex, to me, he is genuinely a genius. Like, I have never seen someone, like, when you're playing, so he's a musician. He plays every instrument, and not that he just plays them. No, he plays them amazing. And it's honestly like you channel, to me, it's like you're channeling God, truly the divine. Like, it's just when I watch you play, it's just like you're not there. Like, you transport yourself somewhere else, and it's just honestly so amazing to witness that. It's such a gift. So that's how I would introduce you, but I want you to introduce yourself.
How do I follow that?
No, yeah.
Anything else? All right. My name's Alex Coombs. I'm 32 years old, born and raised here in Miami, and yeah, I've been doing music for a really long time, since I was 4 years old.
Okay, so that's actually my first question is, what is your first memory with music that you can obviously remember?
So there's two. So I have the first one where I first started playing, and then I have my first one ever encountering music.
That one.
So my favorite song growing up was Red Red Wine
Okay.
by UB40, and I just remember driving. My dad used to sell fertilizer and stuff.
Okay.
So we would drive down Alligator Alley, and every time it would come on, I would just start screaming the song.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first memory with music that I can remember.
And so when you remember that and you were just screaming it, it's just was it like a feeling? Was it something that you were I don't know, just a memory of listening to it with your dad? Because I've had experiences also, for example, there's a song by Phil Collins. Well, not just a song, but anytime
I was
hear
literally
Phil Collins,
just I'll show you my phone. I was just listening to Phil Collins.
Really?
When you walked in.
Yeah.
When you walked in.
I love Phil Collins.
Me too.
But yeah, I have songs that I'll listen to, and I remember being a child listening to it in the car with my dad specifically.
Yeah.
So do you think that really marked a memory with your dad, or it's just more something for yourself of wow, I'm so interested in music. What is this that I'm curious about it now?
I think so I can remember details of it. So,
Okay.
Little details my dad, I remember he would always drive around with a map. A
Okay.
paper map.
Uh-huh.
And then he would GPSs came out too and everything, but he just
Oh,
wouldn't
really?
use it. So he would have me take out the map and whatnot.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of our drives.
Uh-huh.
But in regards to your question, honestly, I didn't know what hit me. It was just
It just marked you.
yeah, it was just my ears were just experiencing, my body was experiencing something that I couldn't explain.
Yeah.
It was just a new sensation, kind of like when you eat food for the first time, I guess.
Yeah.
So I felt definitely like a baby in that sense, just filled in awe and wonder. And I didn't know at that moment that it's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life,
Uh-huh.
but I knew it was something that I wanted to be part of my life
Okay.
forever.
And so how does little Coombs get to start playing with music?
So thankfully, my mom was the person who just typical Cuban mom, put me in everything.
Okay.
She just wanted to find out what I liked and what I was good at.
Okay.
So actually, I have an older sister. She's 2 years older than me, and she started taking piano lessons.
Okay.
So she was 6. Yeah, she was 6, and I was 4.
Okay.
So my mom did the whole deal. My sister ended up really liking it, so did the whole deal about the piano. And then my sister would come home from her lessons and start practicing, right? So she'd read her music, start practicing her things. Then I was really shy too. So she would go, she'd finish, she'd step off of the stool, go there, and then I would just kind of look around.
Okay, it's my time.
Yeah, and just be okay, well, let me see. So climb up on this bench, and then I would go note by note until I figured out what she was playing. And then I would just, after honestly 2-3 minutes or something, I'd be playing what she was playing.
No way.
So my mom basically took she took quick note of that.
Yeah.
And she was no, this kid needs to
4
be in
years
piano.
old, just figuring it out by
Yeah.
memory,
So the whole story is she found out. She went to my piano teacher, or she went to my sister's piano teacher, and she told her, it's like, hey, like my son has this inclination, like he's, he can do this.
Yeah.
So then I sit down with her, and she goes, well, okay, we have a recital in 2 weeks. I can't teach you how to read music in 2 weeks, but you know what? Like, I'm just gonna sort of play this thing and then figure it out, and I want you to be in the recital. So
so
it's
figure
crazy.
it out, 4-year-old.
My mom has like this whole like video, like my mom's one of those people that has like, she has like my participation award from kindergarten.
Oh, my parents are like that too.
She's like one of those people.
And I would be that parent.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that mom. 100%.
I tell myself I won't, but we end up being like our parents a lot more than. But yeah, it's like this whole video of me dressed in like this tuxedo and this like plastic like top hat.
Okay.
We got like Party City. And yeah, like she had this whole skit that she like prepared for me. So I walk out in front of the crowd and she's like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing.
I need to watch this.
Yeah, I'll post it one day.
Okay.
But it's this whole skit saying like, my name's Alexander Coombs. I'm only 4 years old, but one day I'm gonna be the best piano composer in the world. You'll see. Wrong. I was like, you'll see. And then I go and I start playing like Ode to Joy or something because I think that's like the song that I can play. Yeah. And that was my start,
That's amazing.
That was my start.
Oh, okay. Well, but you play so many instruments, so I don't know if you could walk us through kind of that evolution of starting with piano and then practicing a new one, picking up a new instrument. Like, how did you start being so amazing at everything? And also, what specific instruments do you play? Because our audience.
So I guess I'll start with like the instruments at like the chronological order of them. So I started with piano, then I started playing guitar, then I started playing French horn, then trumpet, and then from there it kind of just stemmed off to like different, I guess, denominations of them. But what was the question again?
Just how you went from piano when you were 4 to then that chronological order of how you got from one to the other and like that.
So I started realizing at a young age actually that you have different instruments, right? And they're different tools basically.
Yeah.
So a hammer you use a certain way.
Yeah.
Maybe screwdriver you use like a different way.
But
they were just that tools. And then the thing that related them all together was not like the specific names of the notes, but how notes work together.
Okay, yeah.
So once you learn how notes work together, even with your voice, you're singing notes.
Right.
So once you figure out how notes work together, then all it takes is basically figuring out the technique or perfecting the technique to be able to, produce sound out of the instrument.
Right.
And once you, I was always listening to music growing up. I was always playing music growing up. So I had like a pretty good idea in my head of what sounded good to me or like what generally sounded good.
Yeah.
So once you develop these concepts of music, as I like to say, so things like tone, things like how you phrase something, the way we're speaking right now, we're phrasing things, we're accenting things.
Right.
Once you develop these different concepts, then they don't seem so far apart and so different anymore.
Yeah.
And you're able to kind of like relate them a lot more.
Uh-huh.
So that was just like how my brain clicked, and it worked out for me.
And when you started learning all these new instruments, did you learn to read sheet music for that instrument, or you just picked it up like?
So piano, I had to because I, eventually ended up taking lessons from this woman, and I learned how to read there. And then in school, I was in middle school band and whatnot. But I guess like arguably my most played instrument now, the guitar. I still don't like. I can sit there and maybe dissect what the notes are,
right?
But I don't really read it like that.
And I actually, sorry to interrupt you, but I actually think that is, I mean, of course you need to have an understanding of music, but the natural curiosity of playing with a new instrument and exploring it, and I think that's definitely something I've caught on from you, is just watching you explore music. I think that's what helps you and has gotten you to be so, have that energy of playfulness with music that I think is important. You said it
perfectly. It's exactly that playfulness. And, unfortunately, a lot of musicians, though you study music theory, you go to school, they tell you what's right and what's wrong. You start, developing your own, regulations as to what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. And you start getting influenced by other people, by what they say.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of why you started doing it in the first place gets lost.
Yeah.
And then with something like music that is, you know, spiritual, it's very, you know, resonant
Part-
with who you are as a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Once you start getting all these regulations, and then it sort of takes away from
It starts
that, you
making
know?
something artistic and creative logical.
Yeah. And there is use for logic.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of use for logic in music. But the spirit of it needs to remain intact, and you got to be very in touch with that spirit, because if
Yeah.
not, then it's like the sixth sense that people have, you know, like
Yeah.
to like I call BS,
Yeah.
but you can almost feel that in someone.
Yeah.
You can feel when someone is genuinely being themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and when someone is not, and that happens, you know, in conversations with people, in relationships with people,
Yeah.
in music, in
Yeah.
art.
I was actually gonna, now that we're talking about that, because I've been wanting to talk about like your perspective of the music scene in Miami, because that has a lot to do with what you're saying right now. I've noticed it because you guys know, I've probably mentioned before that I'm a singer songwriter. That's how we know each
A great
other.
one.
Thank you. But so for me personally, I kind of have a before and after.
Okay.
So when I think of Ella, the singer from back then, I was very in my ego, very like doing interviews because of the ego, the artist, you know. And I think if you can work it in a healthy way, great.
Yeah.
But I do see that a lot of people in the music industry are showing up with the wrong intentions. So how do you feel about that? Do you notice it a lot when you go and play gigs, when you're in the studio? Like, do you feel that that kind of discourages you in a way in pursuing music or here?
So, thankfully, like, and this is probably something I grew into.
Uh-huh.
Not that I always had, but I guess as you get older and you know, sort of travel more along this path of like wanting to be an artist,
Mm-hmm.
you start to see like people's intentions with themselves and like what they want that doesn't really like affect you anymore.
Yeah.
If anything,
Yeah.
someone doing something, or at least you should grow into this place where someone doing something that maybe not like doesn't resonate with you, that should solidify you more on your purpose and what you do.
That's
So I never like, I'm not gonna say never, but at this point I don't really feel discouraged by
Okay.
those types of people. And what I would say in regards to first of all, I'm happy you grew out of that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
very happy.
Of course.
Because yeah, I do agree. There's a lot of people that are they're just trying to
Be something
put the
in
image
someone.
that they are this, because
Yeah.
to them their currency is what other people think that they are. And you know, like that's a huge part about the music industry. You know,
Yeah,
like, you
your
can't just be the
image.
talented person and be like, I hate what everyone
No,
thinks.
no,
You
no,
know, and
for
be
sure.
successful.
Yeah.
But I do think people that focus more on that sort of stuff and prioritize that sort of stuff, they have lost the spark,
The heart
you know,
of it.
the little 4-year-old you know,
Yeah.
that they lost that those memories of their you know, first encounter with music, these sort of questions, you know, which is
Yeah.
it's important to always protect that little part of yourself, that little child,
Yeah.
because if not, then yeah, it's very easy to feel discouraged around
Yeah.
in the industry. I have felt discouraged before,
Yeah.
and it is and in those moments you just need to sort of recollect yourself.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like just going along with that same thing, like if you show up at a studio and maybe you're working with people that you don't really align with and that are on that other wavelength, like do you feel maybe just kind of your process, you're like, let me just get through this session and
I you know, there's been
or sorry to interrupt you, or are
Yeah.
you finding more and more that people are coming to that 4-year-old again? Because it could be the opposite. It doesn't have to be like a negative thing.
I think when it comes to studio stuff, it's easier for me to tap into like their mindset
Okay.
and still find like the love in you know, creating
Yeah.
and whatnot, because you know, maybe their intentions aren't the best, or they're not the most pure,
Yeah.
or maybe they're just trying to make a hit, but
Yeah.
that doesn't take away, like that doesn't mean that I can't go
Right.
and try to find some, you know, magic in this.
Right.
And then what was the second part of the question?
So it was kind of like two faces of the coin. Like, yeah, there could be people that are on that other wavelength of, you know, the more ego side, whatever. And then have you felt that recently you've connected with people that are more aligned with you in the intention of music as well?
So the beautiful thing about music is that I think everyone or most of the people that I've come across, there is something, there is that spirit in them, that little
Mm-hmm.
child.
Yeah.
And I almost make it my mission to find that in them and bring
Yeah.
that
Bring it
out,
out.
instead of being like, hey, oh well, all
What do
right, let
you
me
do?
just get over this. Like,
Yeah.
especially specifically in the studio, I think,
Yeah.
because we're all there to create, right? We're all there
Right.
to make something that wasn't formed before,
Mm-hmm.
or to maybe like something that was formed but put the pieces together and
Yeah.
whatnot. When it comes to live performances,
Yeah.
it's a little different
Okay.
because I have been in many situations before where it's like, oh man, I just can't wait for this to be over. Whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
setting that I'm in, whether it's like the type of music we're
The
playing, or whether
people
it's the
around
fact
you.
that everyone is so this big out
Yeah.
from this whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's a little harder to
Navigate maybe.
to it's harder to ignore,
Okay.
which is why, like over the years, like I don't play that many live shows anymore. Remember, I
Mm-hmm.
used to play like
Yeah.
2 3 shows like a night.
Yeah. Every day,
and
like every day.
and it was very, I burnt myself out a lot. I
Mm.
forgot why I liked what I liked,
Mm-hmm.
and I allowed myself to be taken away by the current,
Mm.
um, because I didn't realize that the environment that you put yourself in
It's so important.
is so important, and the environment you put yourself in is what you allow yourself to be put in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna go there and not, no shot to people who do this, but like if you're just gonna go and sit and do corporate gigs all the time, then
Yeah.
I mean,
It's dimming that light as well,
mm-hmm.
right?
100%. It definitely dims the light. I don't think the light ever truly goes out,
Yeah.
but it can get pretty dim.
Yeah.
It can get pretty dim. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I try to walk into any situation, especially studio situations, and hope that in me just being myself, in showing the passion that I have
Mm-hmm.
for music, that it can bounce off of other people, because it's
Yeah.
like it's infectious,
Yeah.
it's contagious.
Yeah.
It's contagious. Good energy is contagious,
Yeah.
and so is negative energy. So who do I
Absolutely.
want to be? Someone who spreads good energy, or someone
Yeah.
who and empowers people, or someone who
Exactly.
just amplifies that this person doesn't want to be here anyways.
Yeah. So, and these are the topics that I talk about on my podcast.
Yep.
It's,
I like it.
yeah. So we talk about it here that you attract what you are, I mean, you attract what you are. So if you do look at life like with positivity, with showing up as the best version of myself that I possibly can be, then you also start attracting those people around you. And it's absolutely right what you're saying. Like, whether it's a studio, whether it is whatever you have to do, I'm in control of myself. And if I can show up, whether it's playing or whatever it is, with the best heart, with the best intentions, then I'm good, regardless of who's around me.
I like that you said you attract what you are,
Mm-hmm.
because what you are might not always be what you try to radiate.
Okay.
So you can be
Yeah,
a very
absolutely.
miserable, sad person and
Yeah.
jealous and whatnot,
Yeah.
and you try to put it out to the world. Oh, positive. Oh, I love
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, wow, you're amazing. Like
Yeah.
those people that like
Yep.
it's weird. Like the older I get, the more I would prefer like an insult towards me rather than a fake compliment.
Yeah.
Like I'd much
Honesty.
rather that.
Honesty.
So that's
For sure.
what you are is definitely what you attract.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get mad because they try to be this, or they act as if they're
A
this,
facade.
oh, positive, this and that.
Yeah.
And it's not to put them down.
Yeah.
I really don't want to at this point in my life, I'm not trying to bring anyone down. I'm trying to lift people up.
Mm-hmm.
But if anything, that's a sign. Like if you're not surrounding yourself in this, like genuine positivity and around these people, then that's just a sign that, okay, well, look inside yourself and see what it is that like you're really like, where's your heart posture at?
Yeah. And I think I've mentioned that as well, and I agree. I've said you can't, because I think that we speak to God, with God, through intentions. Because language, we speak English, people in Italy speak Italian, so okay, you can pray and everything and you use your words, but really it comes from a heart resonance, you know? So it's what you're saying, like I also, this is what I do. I love being able to talk about these things and just get to the deeper level, connecting with people on a deeper level. And I see people that are on that wavelength, but you don't practice what you preach. And that's a huge thing for me. Any advice that I give on the podcast or whatever, it's come from a place where I've actually lived and that I practice. I would never say something,
or from a place that you want to help the person genuinely.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's that alignment. I'm feeling, I don't know if it's the word, like a heart coherence, like what's on the inside matches the outside. I think that's super important.
It's like a consistency.
Consistency, exactly. Yes. So I wanted to ask you, apart from music, because everyone knows you in music, is there anything not music related that you're passionate about or that you're interested in?
So many things.
Okay.
I love, one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that I almost went into college as an architect.
Oh.
Yeah, architecture major. So I remember, since I was 4 years old, 4 years. 4 is like the magic number.
Four,
huh?
yeah.
Four is the magic number.
We're gonna have to look into number 4.
All like the kids in like my class and like, all my friends and stuff, they'd be drawing like stick figures, little things or whatnot.
You're building a whole house?
Well, I was a kid that would have my mom take me to Home Depot.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Mom, like can you take me to like the blueprint section? Like I want the blueprints. So then I would just get these blueprints. I used to love collecting so I liked Pokemon cards too, but what I liked more than Pokemon cards was the little like cards with the different color shades. That's like what I would like collect.
Oh, like the swatches?
Yeah, like those. Is that what they're called? Swatches?
Swatches, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would collect those.
That's
what
amazing.
And then for the day, I would be like, oh, like, every time we would go, because my dad was always at Home Depot.
So was my dad.
Yeah, dad stuff.
Latin dads.
Dad stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I call a plumber. I'll fix it myself. Yeah,
exactly.
But so I would get these, and then for the day, it'll be like a mood. I'd set like pre-Pinterest, all this mood board like stuff. Okay, I would create my own mood board.
Okay.
So I'd be like, okay, I want this blue. Like this blue goes really well with like this like teal sort of thing. And what about a hint? So I would collect that and I would get them. And that's what I would do. So I was very passionate about architecture.
Yeah.
I would draw the blueprints. I would draw houses. That's
4 years old.
4 years old, yeah. I would do that. I was very, I still am very passionate about sports. I don't really play them anymore, but I find a lot of like relativity between sports and music.
Okay.
So much.
This is so random, but I don't know why, I love sports documentaries.
Yeah, me too,
honestly.
I
love them. And so now that you mentioned that you find a correlation between one and the other, I'm like, what could it be?
There's this but there's so much in common with them, and I guess like I can see why you would like sports documentaries, even if you don't really like sports, because it's like an interview setting.
Yeah.
It's almost like a podcast setting with them, and you're getting to like the deeper meaning of all these things that people are just seeing from their television screens and without context. I guess that's what you're kind of trying to do here.
I think it's more what I love about sports documentaries is like the overcoming the obstacle. It's like, they're in the locker room and they're the pep talk and like, we have this problem, how are we gonna fix it? And then they win. It's like, yes.
And they make it dramatic too, with all the slow-mos and like the like orchestra playing in the back.
It's way better than actually watching the game or whatever. But yeah. Okay, so is architecture something you would like to explore eventually?
Oh yeah. A lot of things that I'm very interested in, unfortunately, are things that you need many years of certifications and whatnot.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, like I'm trying
There's always a way.
I'm figuring out in my head how to finesse it all. Finesse it all. Especially in these days, I feel like these are the days, like this time and age is where certifications are like look at a college degree, like it kind of has barely any weight now.
I think we're on the same wavelength because I'm going through the same thing. So this year I'm like, I'm going to get certified as a life coach, and I could still do it. I probably will. But for a long time.
Is there a certification for that?
Yeah. And people tell me all the time, they're like, why didn't you study psychology and all these things? And like, I agree with you because it's kind of like what I do, which is more spiritual, like getting to meet someone and like through a conversation, I can see what they're not saying, and like I'll get like messages and things. It's beautiful. I kind of relate it to music because it's like you're not gonna ask someone like a musician, oh, where's your bachelor's, like to play at your gig or something, or to play at a studio, where's your degree? You know, it's an art. And so I kind of feel like even with psychology, and like in a, I don't mean psychology like in a um like a degree way, like school wise. I mean like the actual art of psychology, of getting to know someone and going to those deeper lengths of a conversation or something. It is still an art form. I think it is an art for
100%.
sure. And so I'm like, man, do I get certified? The same conversation that
I
you're
think
having.
these days it's interesting because I mean we grew up in the time where the generation before us was all about certifications,
Yeah.
and it's like if you didn't have a certification then you weren't that.
Yeah.
And it's hard in these days too because you have a lot of people that are successful without the certification, but it's almost like this little like 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 backstab thing, like
Like
where
hide
oh
your
wait, well
face.
I don't believe you because well you don't have a certification, are you
Yeah.
verified? So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. So I think that's led us all to believe that when it comes to ourselves, we feel like we need the certification to validate that sort of
Mm-hmm. That art,
validate
that
ourselves and
gift.
also validate to other people.
Yeah.
So it's a very
100%.
interesting thing. And not to take away from higher education or
Mm-hmm.
certifications and whatnot, but I think in general, and take you for example. So I'm very big on conceptual learning. And
Mm-hmm.
then conceptual learning isn't tied to a specific art, it's not tied to a specific trade at all.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that? So a concept would be being able to listen.
Yeah.
In music, how important is that?
Oh,
In sports, how important is that?
yeah.
In psychology, how important is that?
Yeah.
That's a concept. And
Mm-hmm.
then people who are able to grasp these concepts are the ones who are able to venture out and do all these things
Mm-hmm.
that people are like, well, how do they do this or how do they do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like most people have the aptitude to do that. They just don't really realize that,
Yeah.
you know? But I mean, yeah, take you for example. What you do
Yeah.
makeup,
Yeah.
you sing, you
Yeah.
songwrite, you're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many other things you're doing, but it's
I've done it
it
all.
makes sense because all these like
Yeah.
skills that you have developed within yourself and your character have allowed for you to do that, and you've realized that.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, that you've realized that. So I'm very big on conceptual learning,
Yeah.
and I also I'm gonna find a way to finesse it.
Oh, you
Cause,
100. Yeah.
Cause
It's
even
gonna
if it's
happen.
like I don't need to be the person that's like building houses for everyone. I think it'd be
No.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I want to build my own house at least,
Yeah.
and it's
That
gonna be
I'm so
wild.
excited for Coombs 2.0 to 3.0, 4.0, all the versions, because Coombs is an architect. I can't even,
I'm cooking. I'm
if it's
cooking.
anything related like how you are with music, is gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I used to draw some wacky things as a kid, but that was the other cool thing that really I guess drew me to architecture too, because I realized that the architects can do whatever they want. You
Yeah.
can draw whatever they want. It's the engineers that got to figure out how to make it.
Like, haha, I did all the creative work.
So I'm like, yeah, there's my idea.
Oh my
There you
God.
go,
You
man.
figure it out. Good luck.
Yeah,
But then their gifts in figuring that out,
100%.
come out. So, yeah.
100%. It all ties together, honestly. And I think the real creatives in this world are the ones that can find the art or like the process of art in everything.
Yeah.
Take a lawyer. Like
Mm.
that's an art to be able
Yeah.
to know this like mandate
Mm-hmm.
of these laws, but then also be able to bend them in terms to a specific case.
Mm-hmm.
That's like linguistics. That's interpretation skills.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all
yeah.
these things. That's an art that people
Yeah.
do for that, and with like a little like spice of passion in there.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
just goes
not
to
like this
show.
girl's lawyer. What's Amber Heard or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
God. Oh, God.
but it's there's people who are anyone who is masterful, and
Yeah.
in their craft, whatever it is, that person is an artist.
And when I think of all these things, whether you are an artist, like a musician or an artist or a lawyer, it just goes to show that God is so perfect. Like the divine orchestration of everything is so perfect, because and we need each other. which is like the beautiful thing. And I think in a world where there's a lot of competition, it's like, no, but we need each other, you know?
I love that you brought it there because, God is perfect. And God, I feel like those things that resonate with your heart, that's, okay, you accept Jesus into your life and it's in your heart, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, your heart is, walking side by side with Jesus if you listen to your heart. And then in terms of competition, if God made us all like with, he formed us with this love for a specific thing in our life, who are we to say that there's not going to be enough of that to go around for everyone?
Yeah.
And that's where things start getting weird, taking it back to like Miami music scene and different music scenes. That's where it gets weird, where people say, wait, I need to bring this person down so that I can assure this. And that's where problems start to arise. Like just
it's everything that's not love, which God is love.
Yeah. So, love. And love is supporting each other. Love is being honest with each other. Love is confident. Love is also subtle. Love is vulnerable. Love is all these different things, like, all these different things mixed into this one word, love.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of things.
Everyone throws it around all the time. But here's the thing about really being a person who gives love and inspires people. Here's the thing about that is that it's not like, oh, well, I went through this and that, or, oh, I love my mom, so, I know love. No, like the real people who gain this deep understanding of the world and this, elevate themselves to like these like amazing levels where everyone's just in awe of them. Those are the people that continually like not redefine, but they continuously like revisit those concepts. So it's not like, oh, I know what love is now,
No, it's a daily practice, and it's in the details. Love is, it's giving. When you were talking, I just kept thinking of the word giving. Like it's coming from the heart space of, I relate it to consideration. Like love is consideration. Like considering the other person, considering the environment, considering the animals, like everything. It's in the details. And also, I don't want to say not, like, I mean not expecting something in return. Like, I'm not loving you so that you can give me something.
Yeah.
Right? But I also do think part of loving is also holding a regard for yourself, where you are treated in a way that you also deserve. Because, I do think that a lot of people can be like, oh, well, love everyone else and put everyone else before you. And it's like, well, I can only be my best version and giving from a true place when I've taken the time to take care of myself and love myself and know that, okay, this behavior that these people are showing up in is not healthy for me. So also, love is also putting boundaries, and it's saying no. And it's, it's not just the cupcakes and like unicorns and cute things. It's a whole
love
thing.
Is this thing to me, this concept that you can't define by a specific action or like a specific, don't do this.
Yeah.
Love to me is every day brings forth an opportunity to show love. And that might be in the form of this or in the form of that, in the form of this. But it all comes back to the same thing. It is love.
Yeah.
And then the second that you try to say, or that this is just how my life has worked. I don't know if people relate, but the second you try to say, oh, love is this. All right, so I'm going to avoid that so that I can stay, in love, is the second, like the day after where God says, oh, you don't think this is love or there can't be love in this?
Let me show you.
Like, let me show you. Let me show you. I'm going to get someone to, not that. Like, this is going to happen because it's an opportunity for you to show love and forgiveness and all these.
That you can find love in everything, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or people that can make it, oh, well, love is this. And then you start making it conditional. And that's not love, right?
Yeah. Our brains cannot wrap. We don't have like the mind span to define something like love. We don't.
Because it's God. Like,
and then
you try to confine, you can't.
Yeah. And the second you try to rationalize huge forces of the world like that in your head are where you'll get tested. Or you'll get tested.
Yeah.
Because we're here to what? We're here to to share love, to inspire other people, and to grow.
To grow in love.
Yeah.
To grow, not in love. I mean,
Yeah.
but to grow in the
100%.
direction of love.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so another question. What do you wish people knew about you? I know we talked about the architects and you know, like interest, but I mean like you and your character. Like, yeah.
I wish people knew that everything that I do say to people comes from a place from a deep place in my heart of just wanting to help. Because I love helping and I love giving, and I think I'm pretty good at both. But helping and giving sometimes doesn't come across in the most beautiful way. And then one thing I have worked on a lot in myself is because I don't know if you ever like gotten to know this part of me, but I can be pretty like brash, and I can be very
blunt.
Yeah, very blunt. Very, very blunt.
Yeah.
You know, ask any of my close friends about that. Like they'll tell you. They'll be like, yeah, Coombs is kind of a a-hole, you know, sometimes. But I wish that people knew that anything that I do say, it comes from a place of never I'm better than you. I know more than you. I wish they knew that I wish they can take it and receive it in a form of the purity that it came from.
Yeah. No,
that's very vague, but that seems to be like the biggest I guess misconception that has happened to me in my life.
Really?
You know, yeah. That's probably the biggest misconception where I'll say, and like I said, I've been, because it's I'm a very self-accountable person, so I realize that okay, well, if I'm talking to this specific person, then I should know better to know that I can't approach them in this sort of way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's the whole. And sorry, but that's part of the whole consideration that, you know, is love is also, okay, well, I care about this person, and if I understand this person or have the sensibility to understand this person and practice putting yourself in other people's shoes, it's so important. And then you're like, okay, well, how do I do this dance of, because it's important and it's part of your gift is being who you are. So that honesty is so important. And it's like, how can I still, out of love, say what I need to say in a way that this person might receive it better? But I agree with you, because
or not say anything at all, you know, because I've been in those situations too.
Yeah, I agree with that, because, and maybe you'll agree with me, I don't know, but or relate to me, but
relatable.
Every time we just keep getting further and further apart.
I'm just leaning back. I'm getting more comfortable now. I'm chilling.
We're gonna end up off the screen.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, we're good. I agree. No, I relate to you in both ways, because, and I know people don't resonate or accept astrology or signs. I do think it was created by God, and there's a beauty to using it, and also and the power of the knowledge behind it. And so I agree with you. In my head, I'm like, because he's a Virgo and I'm a Virgo, and I relate so much. But there's in that, like, I study it and the beauty of it, and also in a way to use it in a positive psychological way, for people to understand, like, there is and I agree with you, because I've been there. I am that friend that I'll tell you what you need to hear because I love you. And there are people that don't accept it. There are people that for them it's like, well, I didn't need your advice. And it's like, well, because I love you, my way of showing love to you is wanting you to feel better, or giving you hope, or encouraging you. And so I've even kind of not separated intentionally, like, oh, I won't be your friend anymore. No, but just creating distance, because I'm like, it's kind of with that silence that you're talking about. There are people that are so wrapped up in their way that it's like, nothing I can say is going to change you. So I love you and I wish you well on your journey. Because another thing is, and I don't know if this is what I'm talking about, if you relate, is I could want to like fix everything for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the sort of rash part comes out, because I'll be like, what are you doing, dude? Like this and that and that and
exactly.
that. And it can seem like I'm invalidating someone's feelings, but I'm like, really, I'm not intentionally trying to do that.
Yeah. So again, I studying all these things in astrology. That is a very Virgo thing, and also we're Earth signs, so we're very practical.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, my brother, being a Pisces, which is water, we have that like conflict sometimes. Like if something comes up, and then I'm just more like, okay, well, 2 + 2 is 4, and then they're more emotional, and they're like, no, but, and so I agree. I've had to distance myself from the people that don't see the love in it, and that they just don't get it. But that doesn't change who I am. That doesn't change that what I'm telling you is from love, is from, because that we're designed in a specific way, Yeah.
So there's two types of people in the world for me. And it's funny because I can take this model of two types of people in the world and relate it to a bunch of different platforms. But in this sense, there's the people that search for the love in what people believe in, and what they say, and how they act and whatnot. And there's people who are always trying to like negate it.
Yeah.
So those people are the ones that take offense to absolutely everything.
Everything.
So it's like I could have, I don't know about astrology that much, but I could have been like, oh,
No.
astrology,
Yeah.
I'm out of here right now. Or I can be like, oh, okay, why does she like what she likes? Oh, I can see that.
Open.
Oh, wait, like, and you start thinking about the world in that sense, and becomes so much more beautiful.
It does.
It becomes so much more beautiful. There's so much beauty in people. Yeah. And then that beauty lies in, these sort of groundwork or the framework of them in not just I believe this, because that's what people are saying now. They're like, you believe that?
No.
Ew, you're cut off, you're canceled.
Yeah.
Like, and they're not looking into why do you believe that? Whether it's to find like a hidden beauty that you haven't seen in them before, or whether it's to be like, oh, okay, well let's work on this. Let's try to work on this because.
And intention doesn't lie. Intention doesn't lie. The moment that you okay, I feel like a lot to say with this. You always feel the friction if there's someone that's like with bad intentions and things like that. But let's say you were to open yourself to, okay, this person see this differently. The curiosity, well, what is there? And just giving yourself and the person the opportunity to explore that, right? Because I believe God created everything. There's nothing greater than God. So it's like, okay, like let's explore. And then I decide for myself, is it something that I align with? Is it something that, you are the creator, active creator of your life, who you choose to hang out with, what music you want to listen to, what you surround yourself with.
And it's our job to see like the God in everything, like the God in people.
Yeah.
It really does all go back to love, huh?
It is. It is. It's all love. Okay, so we have to wrap this up, but before we do, I want to ask
like
you.
3 more hours in me.
I know, but I don't, because I have so many things to do. But I love this conversation, and I hope we keep having them because it's awesome. For sure. So I wanted to ask you 2 questions, and then we'll have to leave. But one, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? Or that marked you? Maybe you were a specific age and you heard something that was like, wow.
I'm like drawing a blank. Because I feel like I've received so many great pieces of advices and they all just kind of jumble in.
Yeah.
But I think
or maybe, sorry to cut you off, or maybe it's like, maybe you had like an aha moment where something shifted in your perspective that you were like, okay. Like it just changed the course of your attitude.
I don't know like the source of like who told me this, or I don't know where it came from, but like what I feel like I need to tell people right now is that
was my other question.
One of the most
your advice for people.
one of the most important things that you can do for yourself, for your own sanity, and just to just grow upon, is just to be completely honest with yourself. And when you start being honest with yourself, then you start accepting yourself. And once you start accepting yourself, you start realizing that, oh, wow, like I'm not as bad as like I make myself out to be, or as people might make you out to be. Or like if other people start criticizing you or something,
Judging
then
you.
you're sort of blocked against that. And you realize that, you know, like you said, God made everything, right? God made me the way that I am.
Exactly.
And then the struggles that I go through are my struggles on my own,
Are
but that's like
intentional
my
for you.
path to develop who I am now.
Yeah.
So be honest. It might take you into some dark places, it might seem, but like you're never going to be abandoned.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people that you're going to find the people that are more suitable to help you when you are in those places of honesty
Yeah.
and vulnerability.
Yeah.
So just be honest, and it's not just telling the truth. It's cuz withholding information or like, you know, sort of beating around the bush, that's not honest either.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself. Love God, love yourself.
Yeah.
That's my advice for people. And to continue to dwell into that, continue to dig deeper into that for the rest of the days of your life.
Yeah.
Just because you heard it from somewhere doesn't mean you know it already. Continue to dive into that.
And know it and live it.
Yep.
Because again, I've seen so many people that...
And share it to people.
Yeah, exactly. I think some people can be a little nervous or like shy or, oh, how is this person going to take it? It's like, no. If we want to see it in the world, we have to be it.
That's why it's up to people like us.
Yeah.
So what's up?
Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap it up, do you have anything that you are working on? How can people find you on socials? Do you even want them to find you? Don't find out. He's doing his own thing.
Find me, that's cool.
You'll find me.
Yeah, you'll find me if you want to find me.
Well, of course, I'm going to tag you and stuff.
Yeah, of course. I'll share.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes. Not just for saying yes, for getting ready, for coming all the way here. You were here way before me when I was like, where are you?
So you actually started posting about it, and I'm like, I want to be on that.
Yeah, you
that's
did.
what it was. I'm like, I want to be on it.
And you know, with you, I've always sensed, okay, it's like an onion that you peel layers, and I've always wanted to know you at your core. So I'm so happy that I think this is the first time we've ever...
I hope you like me.
No, I love you. I've always loved you, but now it's that, like, especially with who I am today, is more aligned with seeing the core of people and like and celebrating it. I think for a while I've been talking to myself about it. Like, I do consider one of my gifts is seeing the gold in everyone and wanting to bring it out the same way that you do.
It's one of the most beautiful gifts you can have. Yeah.
The way you do it when you show up in music and you just want to bring that out of people, the inner child. I'm the same way. Like, just on a day-to-day, that's why it's called Relatable. And I was telling my brother, I was like, the point of this is to show people being human, vulnerable, and showing that everyone has gone through something that we can relate to.
Yep. I love that.
Thank you so much.
We have our mission.
Woo! Oh my God, my first guest ever! Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next video. And please follow Alex, even though he doesn't want to be followed. He's amazing. You'll see. I don't have to say anything else. You will see. Thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful, blessed day. See you in the next video. Bye.